Besides the wives and daughters of the aristocracy and gentry, and women whose fathers and husbands were in the professions, those who came from commerce were now included, and the daughters of wealthy manufacturers are not debarred from attending drawing-rooms, if their associations warrant them in so doing. It was noticeable that the numbers of women presented had increased substantially during Victoria's reign, from 200 or 300 a year in the early 1840s to between 800 and 900 a year by the turn of the century. It became almost de rigueur among the traditional titled classes to sneer quietly at the vulgarity and flamboyance of the Edwardian court, and to mutter that money was now the passport to society. Almost anyone who had enough of it, complained the Dowager Countess of Airlie, could procure, sooner or later, an invitation to the splendid court balls at Windsor and the evening receptions at Buckingham Palace. Victoria presided over drawing-rooms to the end. Her last was on Friday the 11th of May 1900, 8 months before her death. As usual, she stayed for an hour before handing over to her daughter-in-law Alexandra. She didn't find these occasions particularly appealing. Very few people came by whom we knew, and there was not much beauty, was her verdict on a drawing-room she gave in February 1898, when 199 women curtsied and kissed her hand in quick succession. The actress Lily Langtry was disappointed to find that Victoria gazed straight ahead the whole time, and extended her hand to be kissed in a rather perfunctory manner. There was not even the flicker of a smile on her face. Then again, Lily was or had been sleeping with the Prince of Wales. The experience of having your son's lover presented to you while that son and his wife looked on must have been socially awkward. Occasionally something happened to enliven the proceedings. In May 1898, while receiving a good many uninteresting people, Victoria found that the curtsy proved too much for the octogenarian Lady Esher, who was being presented after her husband had been made a Viscount. Lady Esher fell flat on her back, grabbing at Queen Victoria's hand as she went over, and nearly dragging her sovereign down on top of her. She was, with difficulty, raised up, remarked the Queen. Why must a drawing-room be always held in the daytime? One newspaper had demanded back in 1875. In the garish sunlight, when everything looks cold and tawdry, which would be warm, brilliant, and magnificent at night. For years there have been complaints about the unsuitability of demanding that women wear full evening dress, with bare shoulders, low bodice, and short sleeves, for an event which ran from 2 o'clock until around 4. Edward agreed, and replaced his mother's afternoon drawing-rooms with more glamorous evening courts, which began at 10 p.m. at Buckingham Palace. They remained fiendishly ritualized nonetheless. Edward and Alexandra held 2 courts before Easter and 2 after. Strictly speaking, they were attended by those ladies who had been presented to their Majesties and their husbands, although gentlemen who come in attendance on their families are not expected to pass the presents. Everyone wore full court dress. Married women were required to wear a court plume consisting of 3 white feathers. Unmarried women wore 2 white feathers. The feathers had to be prominent enough for the sovereign to separate wives and spinsters at a glance. Those in deep mourning were allowed to wear black feathers. Women were also expected to wear a full train, not less than 10 feet 6 inches long. Any woman who had already been presented and was married had the right to present a daughter or daughter-in-law, or even a friend. Unmarried women did not have the privilege of making a presentation. Unmarried women wore white. The author of Manner and Rules of Good Society declared that it is also the fashion for married ladies to wear white on their presentation, unless their age renders their doing so unsuitable. Number